anniversary of that picture that was taken in China, Tiananmen Square, with
Yeah.
one person standing in front of these tanks. I have a real problem with that photo in the sense that it's scary to people to think, as an individual, you're going to stand in front of a tank against these large forces, including your big government, where as an individual you have to work together as a community to accomplish things. In other words, you don't have to stand alone on these things or stand alone in front of that tank. That a lot of our real power comes from community and helping each other. And that's where I think that that picture is so misleading. And it actually scares people to think, well, if I want to go help on this issue or help poverty or help the peace movement, I'm going to be sticking my neck out and the government's going to come get me. And that's where I think that, you know, there's a lot of powers in numbers as far as...
In terms of the courage, people have to get beyond fear of the government. In various third world countries where there's been oppression, where people have become empowered. We're talking about ordinary people. We're not talking about armed resistance group, but people in villages and communities where they have come to a new social analysis and understanding how the system works, and finding ways to take back their power, even still in their poverty, doing creative things, and they have each other. They come to a point in trying to change things that they're no longer afraid to step out. For example, a human rights group in a city working on empowerment, they start by getting death threats. Then they get beyond just living in fear of the death threats. And then one or two of their leaders are killed. And they continue to step beyond through their fears, and they're not going to stop. And you have whole communities. We're not going to stop. That's the power of it all. Where we're not going to stop because we're afraid of the government. Well, that's what the government wants. The domination of government isn't for the human good of all. It's for the good of some. And some, you have to believe this and you have to believe that. And governments end up dominating. That's what Gandhi says clearly. We have to get rid of government. The movement is to getting away from government, because people can learn to govern themselves in their villages. And self-correction goes on all the time. That's what, like in a family, a healthy family, you have people challenging each other and arguing it out and with respect and love, and working out conflict resolution, creative conflict resolution. We don't need a government to keep us good, because government becomes corrupt and it starts dominating, and those who have power buy off. Senators and congresspersons are bought off, by and large. The PACs, atrocious. The existence of political action committees where hundreds of thousands of dollars given to the coffers of senators and congresspersons. What a corrupt system. Absolutely corrupt. Absolutely corrupt. And so on. So part of it is understanding this, and then we no longer simply react to something we find out how terrible it is. We get beyond that. Hey, we begin to take that anger and we start moving with it. All right, what am I to do with my time and my life right now? And so I don't live in just constantly being surprised and, I'm not surprised anymore at these things. Of course, it's the nature of the beast. When we understand the nature of the beast, we get beyond just being surprised at this or that and not understanding what's going on. We understand. I understand the American system. It's an empire, and it's owned by the top few percent that dominate it with money, and corporations are at the service of the very wealthy, who are the boards of directors, etc., and the major stockholders, etc., etc. I understand how it works. It's very corrupt. I don't want a society like that. Profit motive? What a silly thing. I want to come to more and more awareness of what is silly, because it's violent. destructive and say no to it. And I don't want to just talk about it, I have to try to live it more and more. And there are communities all over that are really marvelous and inspiring. Constantly, we need to constantly inspire each other as we dig in for the long haul. The way I put it many years ago when I first was early on in this peace movement life, I realized the world was not going to change by the end of the semester. Oh, what do you know? I guess this becomes a way of life. So it can't be a weekend thing, or once in a while I do a good deed. A way of life of how do I transform the way I see and the way I live. And each of us make the choices we have to make in that. So, get involved. Start hanging around with people that inspire, truly inspire. And start going to gatherings of groups that maybe I'll try see what this one is like. Is this one my heart leads me to get involved, to be a part of the transformation?